Sandhan. All Gujarat Integrated Classroom.
સેટેલાઇટના માધ્યમથી જોડતી કડી એટલે સંધાન.
Good afternoon, friends. I welcome you all in this physics lectures at Sandhan. Today's topic of our lecture is electrostatics and magnetostatics. So we will be talking about electric field and magnetic field, the properties of electric field and magnetic field, and as the name suggests that it is static. So here we are not considering time dependent. So here we are considering that whatever discussion we will be consider here, we are not considering the charge distribution or current distribution we will be talking about. So they are independent of time. Now you can see the electromagnetics as given in presentation. Now you can see here the chart is given. It is overview of electromagnetics. Now you can see, so here Maxwell's equations that I will describe you later on in detail. So these are the fundamental laws of classical electromagnetics, and we can divide into 4 categories. First is called electrostatics, then magnetostatics, electromagnetic waves, and geometrical optics. So we can divide Maxwell's equations into 4 groups. Now you can see electrostatics and magnetostatics. So there we are considering with respect to time effects, they are 0. So whatever the let me give you an example that cause of electric field is charge. Suppose if you want to create electric field, then you need charges. Similarly, cause of magnetic field is current. So here we will consider that the charges and current, so they are not varying with respect to time. So that's why it is called a static. Then comes transmission theory. It is very important in this. Now we are using computers and various mobiles. So there, how electromagnetic waves are propagating from one place to another. That you can that also you can understand using Maxwell's equations. So there we consider how electric field and magnetic fields are vary with respect to time. So that is called electromagnetic waves. That there we consider transmission line theory, Kirchhoff's laws, and one important thing here, that whatever the wavelength we are considering, that of electromagnetic spectrum, so that wavelength is very, very small. So size of device is very, very small compared to the wavelength. So that is very important. And last category is geometric optics. So in geometric optics, actually the size of objects which we are dealing, so the size of objects are very large compared to the electromagnetic waves which we are using. In geometrical optics, basically we use light. So light is nothing but it is a small portion of electromagnetic region. It's a visible region. You can roughly consider 4,000 angstrom wavelength equal to 4,000 angstrom to 8,000 angstrom. That one can see with naked eye. So it is called light. And so in geometric optics we consider basically light. So wavelength of light is much smaller compared to the objects which we consider in geometric optics. So this is all about overview of electromagnetics. Now consider electrostatics, magnetostatics, and electromagnetostatic fields. So, as I explained you earlier, that in static case we are considering no time variation. The electric field that one can denote by E or D, that is flux density, and the magnetic field which are denoted by B and H. So they are described by separate and independent set of equations. Second thing, in conducting medium, both electrostatics and magnetostatic fields can exist, and they are coupled through Ohm's law. Here the Ohm's law that is given, it is called a microscopic Ohm's law, and I will explain you this in detail. So here this situation is called electromagnetostatics. Now, in an magnetostatic field, the electric field is completely determined by the stationary charges present in the system, and the magnetic field is completely determined by the current. As I explained you that the cause of electric field is charges and cause of magnetic field is current. That means if you want to create a magnetic field, you need current, and if you want to create electric field, then you need charges. And here, we are considering static situation. So magnetic field does not enter into the calculation of electric field, nor does the electric field enter into the calculations of the magnetic field. So we can treat both the things separately. So initially it was thought that electric field and magnetic field both are completely different. So but then later on it was discovered that both are they are same thing, they are many manifestation of the same thing. So but here, since we are talking about we are not considering time variation of charges and current, so we can treat them separately. So magnetic field has no effect on in the calculation of electric field there is no magnetic field, and in calculation of electric field there is no magnetic field. And we know that you can also create electric field by varying magnetic field and vice versa. But here we are not going to consider time variation of electric field as well as magnetic field. Now these are the three experimental pillars of electromagnetics. So first is Coulomb's law. Using Coulomb's law, one can find out electric field for the given charge distribution. Second one is current carrying wires, they attract or repel each other, which you can describe by Ampere's law of force. And the last one is magnetic field that changes with time, induces electromotive force, which is described by Faraday's law. So these three laws are you can say they are pillars of electromagnetics. Here we will be talking about Coulomb's law and Ampere's law, as we are not considering any time variation of magnetic field or electric field. So we will not be discussing about Faraday's law here. Now let us consider electrostatics. So first of all, you consider then the first is Coulomb's law. So what is Coulomb's law? That you can see in this PowerPoint presentation. That suppose you are given two charges Q1 and Q2, and they are separated by a distance. Say you can say R12 is the separation between the two charges, and you can also denote. Suppose you consider some origin O. So charge Q1 is located say R1 distance from O, and charge Q2 is located at R2 distance. So this R1 and R2, they are position vectors of the charges Q1 and Q2 respectively. And as I said that they are separated by distance R12. And we know that electric force, the force is vector quantity. So you can see the force equation. You can write down that this K is constant and it is Q1 Q2 divided by the separation R12 square, and A12 vector is it is the unit vector along the direction of R12. So it is given, and in the last equation you can see that R12 capital R12 is equal to R1 minus R2, where R1 is the position vector of charge Q1 from O, R2 is the position vector of charge Q2 from O, and that you can write down. R12 is the magnitude and A12 is nothing but it is unit vector along the direction of R12. And so you can summarize this force into 4 points, that the electrostatic force between two charges are, you can say, it is proportional to the magnitude of charges Q1 and Q2. It is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between the charges, and parallel to the line connecting the two charges, and they are attractive if we consider different kind of charges. We know that there are two kinds of charges exist. So if you consider opposite kind of charges, then the force is attractive, and if you consider same type of charges, then the force is repulsive. And you can see here that the force on Q1 because of Q2 is, you can say, F12. Then you can also write down, same force. So that is the force on charge Q2 because of charge Q1, that you can write down, it is F21. Now you can see that the direction of F12 and the direction of F21, they are opposite, right? So you can say here this is because of Newton's third law, that if you consider that the F12 is the action of charge Q2 on Q1, then you can say that F21 is the reaction on charge Q2 because of Q1. So that's why they are, magnitude wise they are equal, but direction wise they are opposite. So this is about Coulomb's law. So here we are talking about the force. Now let us consider electric field. How to find out electric field from the given charge distribution. So electric field at a given point is equal to, you can, this is the definition of electric field, that you can say that electric field is nothing but you can say it is equal to the force on a small test charge divided by the charge when we put a test charge at a point. And you can see the unit of electric field is Newton per Coulomb, or you can also write down volt per meter. So here this is the definition of electric field, that if you take a limit of charge Qi going to 0, then it is force divided by Qi, that is the force per unit charge, unit positive charge, you can say. So it is nothing but electric field. And this from this picture it is very clear. Say suppose you have a positive charge, say Q, and you consider your test charge, that is Q0, is at r distance from the charge, then force on that charge we can write down force using the previous equation, right? And similarly you can here we are talking about our test charge is positive, so you can see the force is away from the Q. positive q. Now when we consider negative charge, then the force is towards negative charge. So from this figure, so this force is nothing but it is electric field, you can say, because we are considering q0 as the our test charge, and the whatever the force acting on a test charge, we are defining that as electric field. Now let us consider small example which is based on Coulomb's law. So let us consider magnitude of Coulomb force that exists between an electron and a proton in a hydrogen atom. So here we are considering simple model. So in simple model we are considering hydrogen atom. So as we know, hydrogen atom, the nucleus of hydrogen atom has single proton, and one electron is orbiting around this proton. So hydrogen atom is the simplest atom, you can say, and so here we know that proton is having a positive charge and electron is having a negative charge, equal and opposite charge, but the mass of proton and mass of electrons are different. So here let us compare a Coulomb force. So Coulomb force, it is because of the origin of Coulomb force is charge, and here we will be comparing Coulomb's force and gravitational force between these two particles. So and approximately the radius of, you can say, atom is here we are considering 1 angstrom. So the problem is, suppose you are given electron and you are given a proton, they are separated by, say, the distance of 1 angstrom, and then we want to find out what is the Coulomb force between these two charges. So it is very simple to calculate. You can see, you can write